Somebody is lying, and I can't wait to find out who. Nafisa Collier, if what you said is true, just make sure you got that on recording. Hey, Kathy, if what you said is true, just make sure you got that on a recording.
The WNBA is on fire, but the person holding the matches is its own commissioner. Kathy Engelbert stood before the world and delivered a masterclass in deception, thinking she could talk her way out of a scandal. But she wasn't just caught in a lie, she ignited a rebellion that now threatens her entire career. This isn't just about one controversial comment, it's about a deep-seated disrespect that players have endured for years. And now the one person with the power to end it all, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, is being forced to pick a side. Do you think Engelbert should be fired? Let us know down in the comments below.
First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Nafisa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better.
The explosion began with a single devastating quote. Nafisa Collier, president of the Players Union, dropped a bombshell that exposed the league's rotting core. She revealed that in a private meeting, Commissioner Engelbert told players that Caitlin Clark should be more grateful for the charter flights. This wasn't just an off-the-cuff remark, it was a slap in the face to every veteran who had fought for years for that exact privilege. Engelbert was essentially erasing their struggle and handing all the credit to a rookie, driving a wedge between the league's biggest star and its foundation.
Hi, Kathy. Malika Andrews, ESPN. I just wanted to get some clarity on some of the specifics that Nafisa Collier said about your conversation that you had that was previously private. Did you in fact say that, quote, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the rights deal that I got them?
To understand why this comment was so toxic, you have to understand the years of struggle behind it. For decades, WNBA players endured grueling travel schedules, squeezing their 6-foot-plus frames into commercial airline seats, dealing with delays and arriving at games exhausted. They fought tirelessly for charter flights, not as a luxury, but as a necessity for player health, safety, and performance. It was a central issue in past negotiations, a symbol of the league's slow progress. For Engelbert to allegedly frame this hard-won victory as a gift bestowed solely because of Caitlin Clark was the ultimate insult. It told every veteran their fight meant nothing.
I think what's most helpful is to focus on, I have been in touch with Nafisa, we've exchanged texts, we're talking next week, so I think obviously a lot of reporting, a lot of inaccuracy about what I said or what I didn't say. And I will tell you, I highly respect the players. There's a lot of emotion and passion going on right now because we're in collective bargaining. We're in the WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened.
Instead of putting out the fire, Engelbert walked onto the stage with a can of gasoline. Her pre-finals press conference was meant to be a victory lap for the league's growth. Instead, it became her trial. She started with the oldest trick in the crisis management handbook: start soft, show empathy, and hope everyone forgets why they're angry. Her opening line promised to do better, a phrase so overused it's become meaningless. For a split second, the polished setup almost worked, until she brought up the controversy. That's when the well-rehearsed act started to crumble.
I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously been a tough week. And I just think there's a lot of inaccuracy out there.
The more she spoke, the less anyone believed her. Her tone was clipped, too careful, like she'd rehearsed every single word in front of a mirror, 10 times over. Her responses felt like they were written by a legal team, not spoken by a leader. She tried to smother the controversy under vague corporate phrasing about miscommunication and ongoing dialogue. It was the kind of response you'd expect from a corporate boardroom, not the leader of a league built on authenticity. Every answer felt like she was describing a spreadsheet instead of real players with real frustration. The performance wasn't just unconvincing, it was insulting.
That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world.
The moment her credibility completely evaporated came when one reporter cut through the noise. They asked for a simple yes or no. Did you say Caitlin Clark should be more grateful? Engelbert froze. Instead of answering, she pivoted, launching into a robotic speech about growth metrics and business jargon, as if throwing around buzzwords could erase what everyone came to hear. That dodge was louder than any confession. She was treating players' legitimate frustrations like a line item on a spreadsheet, and in that instant, she lost the trust of the very people she's supposed to lead. Her face said it all. She wasn't answering, she was surviving.
You've continued to express that you're disheartened by the characterization of your conversation with Nafisa Collier. Just again, seeking clarity, did you in fact say that Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything? And do you actually feel that way, that without this platform, players like Caitlin Clark wouldn't be making what they do off the court?
The player rebellion started before the press conference even ended. Lexi Hull was one of the first to strike, tweeting her public support for Nafisa Collier. It was a direct and calculated shot at the commissioner's authority, coming from a player known for her professionalism. The message was clear. This wasn't just one disgruntled player. This was a shared truth that the entire league was tired of hiding. Hull's tweet wasn't just a statement, it was a signal that opened the floodgates for what was to come.
Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game, proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of inaccuracies reported out there.
What followed was a tidal wave of solidarity the league had never witnessed. Superstars like A'ja Wilson and respected veterans like Elena Della Dunn quickly joined the chorus, backing Collier's account. This wasn't a fractured locker room, it was a unified front against a leader they no longer believed in. Even coaches, who typically stay silent on front office politics, began echoing the players' frustrations. Stephanie White, usually measured, voiced her support for the players. The message to Engelbert was undeniable. You are on an island, and you put yourself there.
A trend we've seen this season has been the increase in injuries. According to the 9 Basketball's database of injuries, injuries were up 36% this year. And even in the WNBA's own numbers that were shared with Bloomberg, they say they were up 29%. So amid change to officiating and what could come of that, I guess, what is the league prepared to do to address this increase in injuries going forward?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Obviously, injuries are the worst part of sports, in my view, especially injuries that occur due to the physicality. I think our game is bigger, faster, stronger, certainly even in the last 5 years since I've come in to the league. I think the training, the development, the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, everything that's going into the level of the players that a lot of our fans like is also adding to that physicality. And that's why I said in my prepared remarks, we have to determine where the players want that line to be, because I think they want some of that, but obviously we don't want injuries. And
soon, the backlash escaped the world of women's basketball and exploded into the mainstream sports media. Stephen A. Smith questioned Engelbert's awareness of her own players' issues on national television. Dave Portnoy used his massive platform to accuse the league office of hiding behind PR spin instead of owning its mistakes. Each public critique added another layer of pressure, turning a WNBA story into a national headline about failed leadership. The narrative spreading across sports media didn't frame Engelbert as a steady hand, it painted her as a liability.
We're the players that are driving this change, and regardless of how it's said, I think the messaging stands the same from the players' perspective. Is things need to change, reffing needs to change, leadership needs to change. I think, our league is at a spot that it hasn't been in the past 10 years. Like, we're growing exponentially and we need change to mirror that. And I think where the players see the league going is different than where leadership sees the league going, and somehow we need to see that align. And I think the CBA negotiations will help hopefully get us there.
This one comment was just the spark that lit a much larger fire. It tapped into years of deep-seated anger players have felt over a lack of respect from the league office. It connected to every inconsistent call, every missed foul on a star player, and every time their concerns about physical safety were ignored. For years, players have felt their professional value came second to protecting the league's image. Engelbert's refusal to defend them publicly, and then her dismissiveness exposed that rift in vivid detail.
Of our growth and our development as a league, not just on the player side, but on the league side. She's not good for basketball. That's what Nafisa got. Nobody questioned Kathy Engelbert's business acumen now, because we know she knows business. And you see the average player salaries, it was $28,000 when they first started. It's about, over $130 now. You got salaries over $200,000 now, some of them, but that's not enough.
In a move that sealed her fate, Engelbert tried to play the victim. During her disastrous press conference, she declared, "I'm not a quitter." She intended for it to sound like a display of strength and resilience. But to players and fans, it was profoundly tone-deaf. No one had asked her to quit. They'd asked her to be accountable. By framing herself as the one under attack, a leader unfairly criticized for doing her job, she showed she was more concerned with protecting her own image than understanding the pain she had caused. The problem wasn't persistence. It was pride.
At the end of the day, you have a star player in the league saying the commissioner, this individual, is in the way of all of us. And that was her statement. I believe.
But here's the secret truth many fans don't realize. Kathy Engelbert isn't the final authority. The NBA owns 50% of the WNBA, which means her ultimate boss is Adam Silver. Engelbert's job exists at his discretion. While Silver has publicly championed the WNBA's growth, behind the scenes, this scandal is a direct threat to the NBA's brand and, more importantly, its wallet. This isn't just a WNBA problem anymore. It's an NBA crisis that lands directly on Silver's desk.
Do you give Kathy Engelbert credit for the TV deals that she has struck, or does all this kind of lead to her demise?
No, I give her no credit for anything she struck, because as far as I know, it was a struggling league until this new class of rookies came out. And I mean, listen, this may say a lot about my WNBA knowledge. If you threw Asia Wilson's name at me like 2 years ago, I'm not sure I really would have known who that is. I certainly would have known who Nafisa Collier is. Like, yes, I knew the bigger stars, and those are as big, but like I'm talking to Diana Taurasi, but I wasn't locked in on this league.
This breakdown of trust couldn't have come at a worse time. The league is heading into a pivotal collective bargaining agreement negotiation in 2025. A league that depends on partnership cannot function if the players believe the top executive disrespects them. With Engelbert at the helm, every clause becomes a potential flashpoint. If the players' union goes into those negotiations with a commissioner they fundamentally distrust, the risk of a chaotic and potentially league-halting work stoppage becomes dangerously real.
Kathy Engelbert is being made to, or quite literally is, and sometimes that's a matter of perception from ownership. Players have said how they feel. Then yes, I would imagine that her job would be in peril here. That though will have to come from the board of governors. That would have to come from NBA leadership, because as I understand, Kathy Engelbert, when she was named the first ever WNBA commissioner, reports directly to Adam Silver.
The stakes are now higher than ever, and it all comes down to money. The NBA and WNBA are on the verge of signing a historic multi-billion-dollar joint media rights deal. A league in turmoil, with a commissioner who has lost the faith of her players, is a toxic asset. Sponsors and networks invest in stability, not chaos. Engelbert's inability to control the narrative has made her a liability, and in the world of big money sports, liabilities are always cut loose to protect the bottom line.
There are conversations that I'm sure the league and also the NBA leadership is having, because again, we're in the WNBA finals. We talked about NBA preseason coming, and this is probably, if not the biggest, one of the biggest stories in basketball in the US right now.
I did want to follow up though and ask, I think that the growing sentiment around the league, right, is that players, they feel that the right leadership isn't in place right now in the league office. So do you feel that you're still the right voice and expect to continue to be commissioner beyond this CBA?
Whispers are now circulating through the league's executive offices that Adam Silver is preparing to make a move. The conversation is no longer about whether Engelbert can salvage her reputation, but about how to remove her without overshadowing the finals. Insiders say the NBA is focused on protecting the momentum, which is code for protecting their investment. Silver is a pragmatist, and he knows that the WNBA's incredible growth, fueled by its players, cannot be risked for one failed leader.
Certainly, that's another inaccurate statement out there that everybody reads and takes clickbait on. Obviously, I've never been a quitter. I'm entering my 40th year, actually this month, in business. Never been a quitter, never shied away from tough situations. I think leadership, the cream always rises to the top, and I've always been someone who believes in the fact that if there's things we need to fix, we're going to fix them. If there are things the players have a perspective on that they don't like that we're doing or I'm doing, we'll fix them, Malika.
The irony is that as Engelbert's leadership crumbles, the real leaders of the league have never been more visible. Players like Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Kelsey Mitchell represent the future, authentic, outspoken, and unwilling to accept disrespect. They, along with veterans like Collier, have proven they can grow this game on their own terms. The WNBA doesn't need another promise to do better. It needs a leader who actually will, one who reflects the values of its incredible athletes.
Suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court. That's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury.
The future of the WNBA is brighter than ever, but it's being held back by a leader who refuses to listen. The players have proven they can carry this league to new heights with or without the commissioner's help, but Engelbert's credibility is gone, and her departure now feels like an inevitability. The only thing keeping fans locked in now is the thought of what this league will look like once it's finally run by someone who values its players as much as its profits. What kind of future do you want to see? Let us know below. Like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.